Dave Coleman, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Jimmie, you mentioned maybe should make some changes aerodynamically. I know you're not the engineer, you're just the driver, but what sorts of things do you think might help? And then sort of the second part of that is, if you have more downforce, doesn't that make them yet more aero-dependent?
You know, I think through this experiment in building this car, it's taught us some things. One is you're never going to change aero. There's going to be aero dependencies. And if you can make the cars more efficient so they don't punch a larger hole in the air, I think it's going to help the guys further back in traffic. We've always had an aero problem. I don't care if you go back to the 70s, 70s, 80s in racing. It was still there. Nobody knew about it. So now we do, and it's a big tool that we use. I don't know if we can correct some of it. This car is so much bigger. It is safer, so that's a great thing. But I'd love to see NASCAR talk to some team engineers and their guys get together and think, all right, what's a logical step that's not going to cost millions and millions of dollars to get some more front downforce in the cars so you don't get so tight in traffic. It seems that we have plenty of rear grip from time to time with the aero balance, and you can adjust the wing there, but the cars really need some front downforce.
KRLD Radio. We noticed during the final, or prior to the final restart, that you were really down on the apron, staying down there as long as you could. Fuel concerns?
Not really. I just didn't want to take a chance. We had plenty of gas, but the way those pickups are and the way this new cable drive fuel system works, Denny Hamlin at Bristol had plenty of gas in the tank, but went to restart and there was air in the line. We had it, where was it? I guess at Charlotte in the Chase last year. And we've seen it happen a few times, so being that close to the front, I wouldn't take any chances. I was down there on the flat making sure that we had plenty of gas.
We'll go upstairs for a question. Jeff Gluck from NASCAR Scene. One thing that, to play devil's advocate a little, that when people hear the drivers talk about this, about the car, they say, well, it's in their hands a little bit more now, and it's in the driver's hands. That's one argument that keeps coming up. I mean, is that the case, or is that just something that is a nice way of saying these cars are so so difficult to handle that they're too hard to drive?
The cars are more important now than in setup than what they were before. And now this is on the big tracks. The shorter tracks, aero isn't as bad. Bristol, we saw a good race. Martinsville, still Martinsville. But these bigger tracks, you can't hide the aero deficiencies that this car has. It's just how it is. I guess you can turn it back on yourself. Did you enjoy the race today? I mean, that's the ultimate judge of it. We're all afraid to run side by side, and you can only get so close to the guy in front of you. And we just sit there in a safe spot and ride because you can't go anywhere.
We'll go down here.
Austin Kilgore, Dallas Blog. Yesterday in the nationwide race, there was a noticeable lack of side-by-side racing. Clint Boyer described the day as boring. Could that term be applied to today's race from your perspective?
I didn't see yesterday's race. Well, today's race, I didn't see a lot of side-by-side racing and catch lap cars and be stuck behind them and watch other racing around me. It didn't seem like there was a lot of side-by-side. It'd be kind of crazy for me to judge inside the car. I can tell you how bad it drove, but I'm not sure what the overall race looked like.
From a driver's standpoint, were you bored in the car?
No, my hands were full, man. I was driving my ass off.
Chuck.
Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. A little bit off the beaten path, but Jeff obviously struggled today, said he was frustrated. But one of the things he said was he took a little heart from the fact that you went through the same thing at Vegas and were able to kind of come back from it. Could you just talk about the process you went through after that?
We really just spent a lot of time testing, and we had to it's so confusing with this car because with the bump stops and other tools that we have to work with the car, you're not really sure where you need to be set up wise and what's doing what. And in time, we'll get better with it, and I think we have made some gains. If we look at what we did from Vegas to Atlanta, we made huge gains. We tested a lot over these last 2 off weeks and picked up another step. So we're going the right way, but I'm still a little nervous because I watched the 24 being so strong as he has to start the season. Now he's fallen off and had a bad day. So you're only an adjustment or two away from being junk with this car, and that's the hard thing to sort out. And where we were frustrated and just decided to go to the track and start over, no pressure, no, you don't have the pressure of the race weekend, no one around, and just re-baseline, work on the car, let me feel things, let Chad understand what adjustments are working, and just systematically work through it, and it worked well for us.
We'll go upstairs for 2 questions.
Nate Ryan, USA. Nate, Jimmie, Kyle said that he thought the 99 could have led 334 laps today. As much as everybody else seems to be struggling with the handling of this car on the big mile-and-a-half aerodynamic ovals, he seems to just be dominant. I mean, any thoughts onto why Carl Edwards is so good? Is it the car? Is it just suits his style? And do you feel like he's the guy to beat right now on these tracks?
Yeah, he's certainly the guy to beat on these mile-and-a-halves, and Carl spent a lot of time developing the car of tomorrow for Roush Racing, and I think that seat time is helpful. And they have worked very hard to get some advantages with the car, so I think their whole package right now is really strong. I had a chance to follow him a lot today and look at him and watch his car, and he certainly was lacking grip from time to time, and I could see his car get tight. I could see it get loose off the turn. Just in general, his car was a little more efficient through the corner than mine. So I think we're just a step off in grip, overall grip, where we were 8 or 10 steps off before. So we've closed it up a lot. And I think another couple of weeks will really be a factor on these mile-and-a-halves.
We're all set upstairs. Any further questions down here? Jimmie, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.